It has been 16 days since Chris last begged for money. 661 days since Chris last uploaded pages to meet his paid obligations to the Sonichu comic. 4,321 days since Chris last applied for a job, and like 19 days since I've uploaded a video in this playlist. You can see from either the background behind me or the lack of a background behind me that I have either figured out how to use a green screen or I haven't, which is really cool. Also, the quickie is this cool new thing where it says the record streak, so it's like 17 days is Chris's longest streak for begging for money, which is definitely not true. 661 days is also not his record for not making Sonichu comics, although maybe that's his record for not making Sonichu since he started his Patreon. And then, 4,321 days is his record for not applying for a job. Barb, as we know, is not dead. Her last activity was 11 days ago. As I mentioned in my last video, I have recently moved, so I'm now in a new location. It took me forever to figure out how to set up my internet. Xfinity had to come out. They're a horrible company. But here I am, back at it again. I think should be normal from here on out. We're going to start over on Chris's Twitter, and we have Evelyn saying, "Should I draw Evelyn and Christine Sonichu together in bathing suits? Why would you do that? I have the urge to do so, but I'm not very sure. I'd like to hear what you guys think, since I am a bit conflicted." And Chris says, "You may do so, yes. Also consider lingerie." You might remember that where we last left off Chris, he has now been very obsessed with sex. It's like he's a 26-year-old again. Someone named Toonish is apparently remaking Sonichu, and they say, "The new Sonichu A+ Chapter 1 remake cover art." While on the topic, I decided to do something a bit different. Throughout this month, I will post each page here. So it looks like they're redrawing Sonichu. That's great. And it is great, because Chris says it's really nice and awesome. So Everfree Northwest is a My Little Pony convention that's happening in the West Coast, which is very far away from where Chris lives, and so the Kiwi Farms is trying to fund Chris getting there safely. So there's actually a GoFundMe that Chris linked on July 9th. I have someone managing the money on my behalf. I'm pretty sure it's Noel, if not another member of the Kiwi Farms. So this guy, I'm guessing his name is not Jody Whittaker-Woo, and that he instead is just a big fan of Doctor Who. "I really wouldn't recommend it. Jacob Sockness has planned to meet you there at the event in disguise. Although I've said this several times, you've never responded to me. Is that true? If Jacob goes... How can Jacob disguise himself? He is rather large. I'm aware of that possibility. I will have an better entourage this time around, plus the attending public." Yeah, that's good. The Kiwi Farm said that they were going to send people with Chris to keep him safe and stuff like that, so that's good. But Chris is going to talk about Sockness again. He says, "And to address the concern over Sockness only one time, I am humbled and grateful for all of your concerns and supportive warnings. I am in a much better and enlightened, strong mindset, and I count my blessings and continue in my works with my allies. I have the plans laid out and expanding for all possible and foreseen instances. Should this crossing of paths come my way, I will be calm and direct about it at that instance, and keeping distance, yes. Plus, it's not in the cards for him to make it far." So this last part makes me think that he thinks that it's just not gonna happen, because he's seen the future. So when I'm scrolling through Chris's Twitter, I just kind of see stuff, and then I have to click on it like to make it all big. That's not a great explanation of how Twitter works here. So I'm scrolling, see something, click on it so I can read it. This gave me a flight or fight response. Alright, so this is from an old episode of The Simpsons. If I remember correctly, it's from the Tobacco episode. Homer's going here, he's got to buy some seeds, and he comes up and he sees the store, and there's guys at the store, and The Simpsons is very well known for its sign jokes. So one of the writers or the creator or something, the showrunner of the season, went online and talked about how there was a joke hidden on the sign that people had not caught on to for the 20 years since this episode aired. And as you can see, the side says, "Sneed's Feed and Seed, formerly Chuck's." And this went around the internet for a little while as a meme where people would just post the image and say, like, "Do you get the joke?" And people would be like, "No, I don't get the joke." And that circulated for so long that it became ubiquitous, and now everybody gets the joke. And in case you need it explained, so Sneed rhymes with feed and seed. So if you put Chuck there, and then you have a word that starts with an F that rhymes with Chuck, and a word that starts with an S that rhymes with Chuck, that's what the sign says. It's real cool. It's probably one of the more mature jokes on The Simpsons. It's all that to say that this has become a meme, and Chris has redrawn it. So it looks like one of the buddies here is no longer working. The sign fell apart. Swedes feed and see, formerly Hux, and the car has lost its tires, and of course Chris signs it, July 10th, 2021. He says, here's a full meme piece. I checked the building on the C-197 half at present. Quite the backstory here. Still, the sign is funny. Sue-weed, Fimery, and who's Huck? Lol. You like Matt Groening? So apparently, in modern day C-197, the building has fallen apart, this guy's friend has died, and Chris thinks that Sue-weed and Fimerly is funny. I take back what I said a few years ago on the pony from the Zeppelin episode of My Little Pony Gen 4. He actually mildly resonated with me back then, and he resonates with me more today. So, I personally am asking the staff behind this episode written by Brittany Jo Flores and featuring Tara Strong, was this polo shirt wearing pony actually based off of me? Please, reply and confirm to me directly, Hasbro, ASAP. Thank you. So this is actually listed on the cookie as references to Chris in media. Generally, these types of things are not put into place by the writer, and certainly not the voice actress. It would be the animation studio if they put this in here as a reference to Chris. So the only reference is that he wears glasses and a striped polo shirt. It's not even the right colors. Whoa, Chris Chan, was this pony based on me? How would the gray unicorn fit into the Chris Knight Weston Star Chandler unicorn debacle? I will literally never figure that out. So I don't know the context behind this, because the account that Chris is responding to has been suspended in the last 2 weeks. But Chris says, personally, I would have sex with my gender-bent opposite, and I'd even do it with a clone of myself, but it still remains on the mood, and if the feeling is mutual. If it... What? Maybe it's like a Loki Sylvie situation, like it's from a different universe, and so maybe they don't like you as much as you like them. You're getting friend-zoned by yourself. In my interdimensional experiences, it's been positive and successful about 5 to 10% of the time. Wait, him having sex has happened 5 to 10%? What? I guess we'll never know because the person deleted their account. In further regard to Everfree Northwest, the question of cosplay from y'all. Why does he have to say it that way? Why can't he just say, oh, y'all are asking me about if I'm going to cosplay at Everfree Northwest? Not in further regard. He writes it all fancily. It's all fancy. And then he ends the sentence with y'all. I am greatly considering it, but I need a very good quality and inexpensive costume designer to assemble the one-piece torso outfit, the shin guards, and the Commodore wings. Retweets of this tweet to all cosplay costume designers and artists would be more than appreciated. All sincere inquiries are to be made directly to my Gmail address. My loving and awesome partner, if you would please, will check and answer them. We can pay, but the time frame is less than a month now. Also, just a comment, sometimes when I draw, I have a lovely posable figure from Flame Toys US on Reach for posing references. Andy Warhol, who says collectible figures are solely for collecting and display, or lack thereof in a closet. Yeah, collectible figures have meaningful uses, like posing them for when you're drawing the thing that it is. Good morning, everyone. Another new day is starting up, and so we now get up with Miss Neon Jazzercise and stretch our muscles in tune with Olivia Norton-John. I'm guessing these are some of his weird tarot card people. This paid drawing I'm really proud of. It just is visually and energetically inspiring. He drew a Jazzercise leader as pony. What comes to mind when shitposting? Well, at least I am free as a bird to shitpost, hater troll. And this is also my response to, hey Chris Chan, draw #freebird. I'm certain you feel this vibe too, at Leonard Skinnerd. The bird in this also reminds me of the Falcon Zord. Okay, so Chris was commissioned to draw whatever comes to mind when thinking of a pony who spends all day shitposting. And he drew this bird. And it's modeled after the cover of Freebird. Okay. This is Chris with the picture. And someone says, you look so nice, Christine. And Chris says, negligee really works and feels comfortable on me. I look so good. Those who played me before could have had this. Epic missed out. Guys, you missed out on all of this. Was that too mean? My Little Pony without context. And it's a bunch of the new little unicorn guy plush toys in a store. And Chris says, oh, no. He gets so mad about this. At Hasbro, burn that G5, shoot the into gone, please. Into gone, please. That's new. I've never really talked about this on the channel before, but the show Cheers got me through some very rough times, and so, you know, by extension, I'm very particular to Frasier. This is terrifying. Hey, Kelsey Grammer, someone requested me to draw you and David Hyde Pierce. Did I capture you both well enough? No! Oh my god. Okay, going back to Chris cosplaying, he says he found someone to handle 2/3 of the outfit. He still needs someone to make the one-piece torso garment. So someone's gonna make this in a month and somehow get it to him, and it's within his budget? That's crazy. Sonichu Warrior, the highest level of warrior, even more sacred than a jaguar or eagle warrior. So you have someone who is inside of a Sonichu pelt, and they're a warrior. And let's see what Chris says. Oh, Woly? Instead of holy, he says Woly? On a pike and call it macaroni and murder. You drew someone who skinned a Sonichu? Dude, I am seriously offended seeing this depiction. That is a lot worse compared to just about anything. Even Beast Boy has it worse in empathy because he has been every animal. Okay, so Chris is offended that somebody has killed, skinned, and is now wearing a Sonichu pelt, despite the fact that Sonichus come back to life when they die, no matter how they die. And that is worse compared to just about anything. Keep in mind that it's canon that Rosechu was kidnapped by Nazis, raped, impregnated, and then gave up the children for adoption. Also, one of her daughters was too. I forgot that part. So Beast Boy is a vegetarian because he can transform into animals, and so he's empathetic towards their plight. But Chris says even Beast Boy has it worse in empathy, which either means he's more empathetic than Chris, in which case he wouldn't use the word even, or he's less empathetic than Chris, in which case saying because he has been every animal doesn't fit. The sentence is nonsense, basically. I don't know what he means. It's because he has bad grammar. Cool art, though. Chris tweets the link out to the Warhol Christian book and says he's currently on hiatus reading and highlighting his copy. Do you want to take a bet if he's ever going to finish it? 600 pages long, guys. When I go on Chris's Twitter, I'm used to reading out, like, sexually charged things. I feel like I have to take on the role of, like, Steve Harvey from Family Feud. Like, I go out there every night, I need to pretend I'm not going to see some sexual innuendos, because when I see them, I gotta act all surprised and, like, offended and stuff. Was not prepared to see front-facing Homer Simpson drawn by Chris Chan. He even says with apologies to Matt Groening. I bet he's doing all these commissions so that he can get money for the con. At Crayola, I have a major complaint to share with you. As you all should be aware, I am a chronicler, creator, and artist, and I generally use the super tips markers y'all offer. When I needed to swap out markers between the 100 color pack, I match with the shade on the marker cap to determine the match. But between what I've been using and the bigger butt markers in recent stock, I'm noticing great shade difference. I mean, what should be the same shade of gray on the floor in the new drawing I drew today should be the same, but the newer marker pretty much splotched it up. And on Nightstar Sonichu here, the marker should be Diva Pink like Rosie Rosechu, but now I have to blame it on the lighting in Shale Blush's laboratory, because in this drawing, she's suddenly a red wine. This will most certainly not do, Crayola. Please, redo the present stocks of Super Tips 100 color markers so they match the colors they should be like before. Thank you. Color consistency is very important, Crayola. So this color is supposed to be the same as this color, but the new batch of markers has different shades, even though when comparing it to his old batch of markers, they look the same on the outside. I mean, he's not wrong, but I don't think that's how you go about complaining like that. Alright, so this is the one thing I did know happened before I started recording this video. July 15th, 2021, Chris's dog Snoopy passed away. Everyone, I have sad news today that has been bugging me since this morning, and I'm still processing, yet mostly recovered. Snoopy Doo Chandler, March 2012 through July 15th, 2021. He died in his sleep this morning. I needed help from my neighbor and his daughter to dig the hole, carry the body out on the rug, and bury. We buried him by a tree in the front of the gazebo in the backyard, left a mound that has stones and cement block portions marking it. I cried my emotions out after that work and effort over his grave, and then had a shower. I will recover from this, just needed the day to do it with. But I wanted to share a little obituary of our memories of the time with him. And yes, I am going to read this totally straight, like there's nothing funny about Chris's dog dying. I remember it well, the day around Mother's Day 2012. Barbie... Although he's going to make it pretty hard, isn't he? Barbie and I went to a distant house in a country area that was selling purebred beagle pups, drove out there in the Cadillac. We picked out Snoopy and Clover out of the remaining litter. They were both super cute and tiny. As pups, they would sleep with me on the couch up to January 2014. The pups liked to play on the mountain of clothes we had. Snoopy fell and injured his left rear leg, lasted the whole life. Made it difficult for him to walk in later years and even traverse stairs. So yeah, we seriously could have taken them for walks more often, but the handicap and carrying his weight up the stairs was quite a chore. I saw in his eyes he was still feeling the pain in his leg, but he appreciated the comfortable rug and pillow we laid out for him by Barbie's bed. So when the dog was young, it hurt himself on all the clutter in Chris's house. For this reason, it couldn't walk well, and so Chris had to carry it up the stairs, and this made Chris too tired to ever take it on a walk, which is why it was so overweight. Granted, it did live 9 years, but Chris does not have the best track record with pets. Barbie spent more time with Snoopy. She was able to see the feelings in his eyes and communicate with him. In her own words, Barbara Chandler appreciated that Snoopy was very caring. He was understanding, and he was smart. She saw the care and compassion in his eyes. Snoopy felt her emotions and offered his love as best as he could. And to the end, on this half of the veil, he knew and felt the events and energy and cosmic shifts as well as I. So as he was dying, he felt his oncoming merge into the other dimension where he's going to join Patty and all the other cats, I assume. In dressing myself for the burial work, I saw Snoopy had merged with his anthropological self-counterpart on the C-197 half of the veil. Anthropological? He means anthropomorphic. That's not... He became a tall dog guy. Tall like me, definitely taller than Patty Chan. So I can find solace and comfort in the fact that he is now better able to help us all out in these present events, still in progress on the final legs of the dimension merge / collective shift. So this dog went from being a dog, where all it has to do is dog, to now being in a bureaucratic role in creating the dimensional merge, and Chris thinks that this is like a good development. And having to deal with the emotional weight of all of that and comforting Barbie and Clover today. This is why I've been rather melancholy today. I'm taking the day off from drawing in recovery and processing of this. I know where he is now, but I'll say it one more time today. Snoopy Dooby Doo, where are you? Aw, that's cute. It's very interesting how Chris can convince himself things like the other dimension is real and his father is there and we're all going to go there. It's very heaven-like in that manner. But still be sad when something like this happens, right? Like I would say that most people who believe in heaven would say that they're not sad for the other person dying. They're sad because they can no longer be within their company for the rest of their earthly life. The difference between most Abrahamic religious people and Chris is that Chris believes he can contact the dead and that he can physically go over there and talk to them and see them and watch them. So I'm not sure why he would be sad, which just gives greater indication to the fact that he doesn't actually believe his delusions on the deepest level of his being. He just sort of uses it as an outward defense. Using that as a coping mechanism would be my diagnosis of what Chris is doing. Granted, all I do is read his tweets. Also, just to comment, I had to go back to 2018 to find this one photo of Snoopy on my phone for this tweet set in his honor. I have more photos deeper on my phone. Also, when I drew the Harmony card earlier today, while that one card was for the collective, it and a few more cards were my guidance for today. Going through all this, I know in comfort and steed, this day will end in harmony for I, which is why I worded it as such for the collective as well. We Are the World also came up in this self-reading as well. Anyway, that is all for now. I thank you all for your understanding and for listening to me talk this out. Credit to Vixenheart for this lovely homage image. homage image. I would also have accepted, like, thank you for the free art memorializing my dog. I would also have accepted these other gifts. I would also have accepted an image of Snoopy-Doo sticking his head out of the mystery machine or sitting with Scooby-Doo himself. I'm positive you'll meet each other in your dreams and forever someday. It's only when we say goodbye that we can truly say hello again. I do see him still, and I will see him again post-merge. Your refusal to deal with reality will eventually take its toll. In the end, it will make things far worse than if you just accept them on a day-to-day basis. The more you dwell in a fantasy world, the more irrevocable it will be to get out of it. You may already be past that point. So if you play Pokemon Unite, you get a free Zoroark, and Helena says Sonichu, because it looks kind of like Sonichu, and Chris says, nope, that's Zoroark. Hey everyone. You may call this a forerunner for a tweet later tonight, but in the moment, since it is an FAQ, I wish to talk about the shipping of Angelica Rosechew and Punchy Sonichu. So, for starters, the two of them have been friends for quite the time. I thought they were siblings, Chris. Punchy was more into his physical, mental, and spiritual endurance and training, in addition to his love of anime and whatnot. And Angelica, I actually do say, is the holiest amongst the special Sonichus and Rosechews in general. But, up until when her church's nuns and even pastor were no longer able to run the church after an attack from Eggman and Bowser, that's not in the books. Sometime after the Idea Guys saga. Okay, so yeah, it happens after Idea Guys. Angelica had taken it upon herself to restore and take over the church personally. I'm guessing he means the physical church building and not the entire institution of the church, because that would be rough. And after finding greater appreciation in the collective of deities, in addition to Jesus and Emmanuel, and including myself, she opted to convert the church into a public sacred meditation and spiritual sanctuary for all to come and find self-love and inner peace in. She holds weekly group meditation sessions twice a week, and she continues to observe and appreciate her upbringing in having worshipped one deity out of the total in existence. What? Okay, she's appreciating the fact that she used to be Christian, but now isn't. After meeting and becoming friends in 2004 with the rest of the chaotic combo, and Sonichu and Rosie, Angelica and Punchy remained as allies in battle and friends among the group. Punchy did not have interest in seeking out romance for himself. He understood that should romance and twin flame attraction come his way, the guiding partners, followed eventually by his true twin flame/soulmate, will come his way. He did take to heart from his training an aspect of going with the flow, along with all of the other aspects. Obviously, Layla Flaffy entered into his life, and, to spare the question, Punchy saw in a meditation a week prior to the beach day that he would be attending a dating education class with Wild, so he went along this clear path and then met Layla. So a week before they went to the beach in Sonichu issue 8, he foresaw that he would go to this class that he had to sign up for, and then did it. But that relationship didn't even last. And after a year or so, Banana Soros entered his life and broke up that ship. Banana Soros and Punchy remained buds for a few years, but then, after April 2018, the Banana Soros died. What? Banana Soros is unironically one of my favorite Sonichu characters. This is tragic. But the species lived on. Anyway, after Angelica converted the church, Punchy chose to join her meditation group in late 2018. By now, Punchy had become more aware of the fans' FAQ and shipping of him and Angelica, so he meditated on it, and then the timing became right, and the two of them decided to date in January 2019. Wow! See where it goes and how it vibed. They lasted a few months! Guys, this is amazing. So many twists and turns. I wish this had been an episode of Sonichu. Banana Soros died, Punchy and Angelica date because the fans want them to, and then they break up. Yes, they had sex. They had no children. They used condoms. The difference, while Angelica did like some of the anime Punchy liked, the more slice-of-life type of anime, Punchy felt better having the background jams of music from his favorite anime shows playing while he meditated. Angelica was unable to meditate or concentrate as much with this going on. So wear headphones! So, due to being unable to come to a compromise in the living in meditation situation, the two of them broke up. And more recently, a few weeks ago, Punchy met someone else, to be revealed and talked about soon. Also, Punchy still does attend Angelica's meditation sessions. It still adds variety to his mantra and insight, though not necessarily as diverse as my awesomely fuzzspirational playlist on my iPhone. That was a roller coaster. I love Sonichu lore so much. See, I don't follow Chris because he's a lol cow. I'm actually not very interested in lol cows in general, except for Derek Savage. I don't know why he interests me so much. What I'm interested in are lore cows. And this gets my heart beating. It's been dead for so long. Okay, here we go with the continuation, and it's actually a comic book page. Oh my god, I'm so happy. Okay, so we have Chris narrating. Punchy Sonichu and Toffee Rosechew are a confirmed couple in progress. Canon in our timeline. Here, I even bless it. So they're at the mall, right? They're in the food court. There's Chick-fil-A, McDonald's. This guy's reading something. So we have Toffee Rosechew. No way! You can break boulders with your aura too? And Punchy says, yeah, ever heard of Goku's Kamehameha move? It's channeled energy, focused outward, but you need a lot of energy. Okay, so they're on their first date after a lovely afternoon in the park, and they're at Starbucks. Punchy and Toffee met one day at a grocery. They bumped into each other, and Punchy helped pick up her items. She had a DVD box set for one of the Mobile Suit Gundam series in her basket, and they got to talking. Quick poll, does your grocery store have Mobile Suit Gundam series DVDs? If it does, leave yes down in the comments. They shortly set up a first date of an afternoon in the park a couple days after. This literally happened to them a few weeks ago, last month, and it is canon in our timeline, right here and now. I'm so happy for Punchy. Hashtag your signature sex move, and Bobble says zapping to the extreme. And Chris says, I'm still in development of a signature... It's like a Z move from Pokemon, but we're gonna call it an O move. I'm still in development of a signature sex move, but I do like to begin with giving a massage as foreplay. Why is this on my timeline? Okay, so I love KP a lot is someone that Chris has responded to on Twitter multiple times, and so they tweeted this image. Lord of the Rings says, I have the biggest book fan base. And Harry Potter says, no, I have the biggest book fan base. And then amateurs. What was that, punk? Amateurs. And it's the Bible. And Chris says, I have one to add to that last panel. Chris comparing himself to Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter is the type of delusion I have come to expect from him. Chris now believes that his fan base is comparable to Christianity. Maybe if you combined all of the dimensions together, I guess. Today's collective draw has two cards, Mind and Beyond Illusion. This is for July 18th. It is very clear to me that more and more of you all are genuinely woke these days, but there are still very few who need to wake and see the demons. See, when he said woke, I thought he meant like the way that everyone else uses woke, not being able to see the demons pulling their strings from behind. All of you are very much encouraged to meditate, sense and find these demons and most dark, manipulative, and controlling types. See beyond their influences and illusions, and make your individual choices on how to address these demons. On this, it also makes me think from the new Space Jam. I've had a journey of self-discovery. I delved deep into myself through meditation, and the one thing that this journey has reminded me the most of is Space Jam: A New Legacy, out in theaters now. Al G was definitely a lonely type. Who's Al G? Al G was definitely a lonely type who got influenced by his share of demonic forces and tried to do that with Dom, but Dom eventually became woke of Al G's influences. I have not seen the movies, and I don't know who either of those characters are. Actually, I think Al G is Don Cheadle's character, and Dom might be LeBron James's son. And to comment, I really liked Lola Bunny's growth and development with Diana on Themyscira. Okay. Can someone in the comments please tell me whether this is Chris's fanfiction, where in C-197, Lola Bunny trained with Wonder Woman, or if this actually happens in the movie? Because I have not seen the movie, and I really don't want that to be canon. I don't know why I care about Looney Tunes canon, but for some reason that's upsetting to me. Here's a new piece featuring Zapina. She was the underage Rosechew. She can now fly and hover miles over Quickville and light up well more than half the city's length in diameter. Someone go update her Pokedex entries so that we have that on there. So this person, Kelly Chan, drew themselves as a Simpsons character, as a Mario character, and then other stuff. And Chris says, very diverse, and it is impressive and lovely, yet it is still just a few of your self-counterparts / variants. So variant is the term used in the Loki TV show to describe what Chris would call a self-counterpart. So it's you from a different dimension. But usually it implies that you're from the not correct dimension. So in Marvel, there's one proper timeline, and if you're a variant, it means that you're from the wrong timeline. And I've recently binged Loki, of course, I've recently binged Loki on Disney+, out of the entire multiverse, and even some within the same universe coexisting. Stay awesomely multifaceted. Multi-face Chris, thanks for the compliment, but I'm not multi-face, okay? Is Kelly not that weird name you just say? Gonna go on a limb and say she doesn't speak English as her first language. No, that's not what I meant. How do you know what she meant? That didn't make any sense. I was not talking about your face nor your name. To be multifaceted is defined in having many aspects or phases in or of oneself. I was complimenting how you were able to discover these differing aspects and variations about yourself. Exactly is just for fun. I do roleplay with my characters, but I'm not take seriously with whole thing that is real. I do drawing because I want to work as digital designer and do what I really love drawing, use my eye imagination just for fun. That doesn't mean they are real. Chris is doing another Q&A and he says, I can take a few minutes to answer this set of questions. Starting off with question 3, since I needed to consult the visual reminder. So question 3 is, that blue rose chew that revived David. Oh, this might be in response to his Twilight Sparkle Secret Chipfic folder cards. The flavor text in her Twilight Sparkle Secret Chipfic folder card states quite a bit. She's held a few jobs, including fossil researcher and attendant at the Quickville Museum. She is still working at that museum these days. Going back to question 1 is, Zapina, where did she come from if not from the rainbow? This is the origin of Zapina Rosechew in a nutshell. Hers and Simonla Rosechew's eggs spawned from the chaotic rainbow of 2003 and ended up in a forest area in Kentucky. Okay, so they are the special Sonichus from the rainbow. The 2 eggs were side by side, and Simonla Rosie came out of her egg, shortly followed by Zapina Rosie. I thought Zapina was much younger. The 2 of them learned their respective crafts and worked from a sandslash, and even a bee drill or two. Simonla and Zapina were BFFs, and were like sisters with each other. Simonla managed to get to a high level of 26 and evolved first. Zapina got stuck for a little while, and ended up evolving at level 13. Obviously, in the years to come, between Simonla meeting Wild and starting their relationship, Zapina remained very supportive of her sis. And after Sandy hatched, Sandy is Wild and Simonla's daughter, who was born right before Simonla died, but then it was retconned that she didn't die and she came back years later. Zapina was still young enough to be of big help in relating with her on the youthful age. Sandy evolved at level 7, but grew up quick enough after that. To also mention, their time on the Girl Scouts together lasted for a couple of years before they moved forward. They each had earned a good amount of merit badges for themselves. Zapina was in the troop on the grounds of being Sandy's buddy, friend, and guardian, so her entry into the troop was honorary and of special circumstances. But by 2019, Sandy had matured and caught up with Zapina in age and young adulthood. Zapina blossomed into adulthood in 2017. Don't ask or overthink the mental and physical growth rates in He keeps saying anthropological, that's not the right word. In anthropological creature individuals in Pokemon. It does vary from individual to individual in our universe. That doesn't change their actual ages. Okay, Jigglyami background. While she and Blanca Weiss went on their gig on a rocket ship onto the space station, and then the Earth's moon, the 2 of them had got into their own relationship troubles with each other. And with Blanca having been outed as a hater, faker, and even narcissist, the 2 of them were on break from each other. I hope you guys have seen my Sonichu video or just read Sonichu by yourself, otherwise this is not going to make any sense. Then, by paradox and fate, Blanca and Jigglyami encountered a violent, hostile creature from space, something like a xenomorph, but something different. Blanca ended up being torn apart by it. Oh my god! First Bananasauros, now Blanca. Jigglyami tried to save her, but she couldn't. Jigglyami saved her heart out and put the vicious creature to sleep. She even power slammed it out of the moon's orbit and into the vacuum of space. Being of moon type of Pokemon origins and her balloon nature, she ended up inflating herself, don't like that, and floated through space, directing herself with her arms and legs, her head inflated. She made it back to Earth in January 2015, floating down and landing safely in southern Virginia, near the border with North Carolina. She had to restart her career in singing, but she came back and remained on top of her game. She even found a new partner and friend in a female Sonichu from the wild. Her name is... Wyanka. Oh, it's supposed to be like, Blanca. Wyanka. It must be Wyanka. The 2 of them supported each other and sang together. They've toured the US with the help of their record label, 5PB Records. Guys, Blanca got torn apart by a xenomorph. Skipping to question 5, Jamps to Sonichu and Lalisa Rosechu. Can someone please update the quickie? Because nobody actually takes care of the quickie and none of this information ever gets put on it. For the love of God, make pages for these guys and update their pages. Jamps to Sonichu and Lalisa Rosechu. The Power Music couple, they're a couple, I didn't know that, are still present at station KCWC, I always read that wrong, as their leading DJ duo. And the two of them are still on each other's backs. What? And the two of them are still on each other's backs, as delightful and bantering as ever. The two of them actually did get married, but they agreed and opted to keep their relationship open. Why? Keep the relationship open due to Jamps' tendencies that do not last long. Okay. Plus, Lalisa has a few fetishes of her own that Jamsta has tried to satisfy, but couldn't quite get into that groove so easily, so their relationship is still strong, yet complex. Why is that Sonichu canon? Like, that's not what people mean. And the final question about the Quickville Power Rangers. So in one of the issues of Sonichu, the Power Rangers help the Power Rangers and the Transformers help the Sonichu gang fight evil. The teenage group that did compile the 6-person squad and their original Zords, they had been relocated to another city where there were more monstrous attacks that they could serve better in, but they remain on call should we need them once again in Quickville or New Kama or whatnot, and can get here on quick teleportation. And here's a fun fact. Before having to leave the group due to getting involved with the governments, my self-counterpart, Christine Chan, he was the leader of that team of Power Rangers, stationed in the city that would become Quickville, Virginia from 1995 to 2000. So yes, in that way, I used to be a Power Ranger. I pray that answers all of your questions, at least at minimum for now. Thank you. Also, just keep in mind that Chris refers to his pre-transition self as a he. So even if you want to use Chris's female pronouns to refer to him in the modern day, he refers to himself in the past using male pronouns. What? No premarital Gex. I ain't no gecko. Why is Gex a Sonichu? Hey, in a commission, I've just discovered a new Sonichu. Introducing Qui-Con Sonichu. Here's his backstory in a nutshell. He was bred between a male Sonichu and a female Politoad, both of which trainer owned. The trainer was a kickboxer and black belt in karate. They ended up giving birth to this green and yellow Soni in 2005. The trader dubbed him Kawaii-Con and gave him a fighting plate. When he evolved at level 25, he became the strapping Gex lookalike, fighting electric type that you see in this piece. They, trainer, and Kawaii worked and trained very hard and diligently over the years. The trainer died in 2017, but Kawaii travels the lands and world to expand his insight, spiritual abilities, and physical prowess. He can break boulders more than triple his size and bend metal. Feel free to fanfic him. Okay, someone tell Scott the Waz. I drew the cause of Blanca's grim demise, the pseudomorph. I also give full creative license for it to Chris for future Sonichu projects, Alien Invasion and Quickville comic perhaps? As long as I'm credited properly, I'll answer any questions too if need be. So this is the psychomorph, and this is Blanca's remains. Jesus Christ. Pseudomorph, not psychomorph. Chris says, we are already going to have an alien invasion soon. I already went into this during late 2019. By we, does he mean Quickville or does he mean us? Wait, there's an active Sonichu fandom for real? OMG, hi, I love y'all. We love you too, heavy metal techs. So Chris used this website to determine the value of his Twitter, and he says it's worth $44,000. How many followers does he have? 54,000. I mean, seems overestimated, but whatever. Helena tells the heavy metal techs that there's like 30 people in the Sonichu fandom. And Chris says, it is literally up to millions to over 1 billion of people in the Sonichu and Rosechu fan communities. I knew he believed that. He actually believes that. I would say it's less than millions, maybe 100 people. Well, I mean, Gino has 100,000 subs, so it's somewhere in there. Okay, guys, Chris is going to tackle a nuanced topic. Xena says that they're not on board with the concept that art should be restricted and that lewd art is art. This is not an excuse to bully or harass anyone, but Christian conservatives and sex-negative feminists shake their dirty hands on this. And Chris is going to talk about this, and he says, I agree on this. Art should typically be unrestricted because the artist calls it as they see it in the greatest detail possible. And while I do not typically judge those whose view is consciously restricted of their volition or upbringing, they can lighten up and tolerate the presence of the situation and art. I don't think Chris realizes that we're not talking about art that is dirty. We're specifically talking about art made by someone else that you are now making fan art of and you're making it lewd. So when Chris complained not 20 minutes ago that somebody drew someone wearing a Sonichu skin, that would be what Xena is defending. that Chris complained about, but now Chris doesn't understand what Xena was defending. For the presented situation has happened in an alternate universe and or timeline within the multiverse. So that means if I draw fan art of something extremely inappropriate happening with Chris, that it happens in a different multiverse, like, it's horrible reasoning. And rather or not, just say whether, it's whether or not. And rather or not one likes it, this can happen, to an extent at least, does exist, and there's no shame in it happening at all. Shame is also a notion that should be considered outdated and moot, especially when you take into consideration the grander and deeper schemes and meanings. One may agree or disagree with the subject matter, but there is no need to make the artist, or those who appreciate the media, regardless of resulting feelings and triggered desires from seeing it, feel any shame in having crafted and presented this perspective to us as mainly they can and have seen it. So Chris's excuse for there being lewd art is that it happened in the multiverse, and also he's not understanding what's actually being talked about in this discussion, seeing as he himself criticizes lots of art. I needed to reference the old Hedgehog Boys lyrics, and looked online. Not spot on with what I had written. Here are the lyrics for the track. Please update the quickie when y'all can. Okay, so the Christian and the Hedgehog Boys theme has been wrong on the quickie for years, and Chris uploaded the actual song. This is amazing. Christian and the Hedgehog Boys theme by Christian W. Chandler, September 3rd, 2003. Block notes. Theme of Supersonic from Sonic Adventures DX video game for Nintendo GameCube. Christian and the Hedgehog Boys, zippin' along, rockin' with joy, guitars and rockin' speedsters, and many fans with cheers. Shadow and Black Sonichu, the dark half can rock too. Sonichu and Sonic, rockin' in the atomic. And the leader who put the band together singin', with his soul, his name is Christian Chandler. Repeat the following few lines twice. Rockin' with adventures, and without stoppin', runnin' faster than the speed of sound, and zappin' with lightning. Instruments of rhythm, listening to their souls, we are setting out on a mission. Christian and the Hedgehog Boys will rock your world. Rock your world, yeah, yeah. It's a lot of things that almost rhyme in there. He almost got it. Hey everyone, I have received a tall order among the GoFundMe donations towards my trip to Washington for Everfree Northwest. And this one piece took me hours, and I have to reference the original painting for the colors and a high-definition version for the lines and details. But now I am more than delighted to share with everyone a work of art that surpasses even the Freebird piece inspired by Lynyrd Skynyrd. So, in order for people to donate to his GoFundMe so we can go to the con, he's been drawing pictures. He's been drawing commission pictures, and he's saying that this is his best artwork yet, even better than Freebird. For preface, the commissions were originally meant to be character drawings. So, when I read a few days ago, and I quote, a Christian interpretation of The Last Supper, end quote. Firstly, this is not a single, easier-to-draw character without requiring a background. It is a major and inspirational painting portraying my ally demi-deity in his final moments, his first time around before taking all that pain. So you can see here, it's the top of his drawing. I don't want to scroll down yet. Before I present the completed piece, let me share the almost finished portion of it with you all and reflect on it, as I have also with Noel. Now, for starters, I saved Jesus for last to be colored in this piece because he liked to serve others before serving himself. I mean, it's not bad. He definitely took his time with it, which is very interesting. But in doing so here, I witnessed a bit of irony and commentary on individuals throughout time and in present days now. Here, we have Jesus Christ, like the few individuals throughout time and now who often feel like they are not one with the community, the people around them, and this was known to them throughout their lives. The reason for this is because, like my ally demi-deity here, these few people have realized for themselves that they are better than the common background individuals around them. They generally stay out of the loop of gossip, rumors, fight, and confusions. They are those few who are at least one step ahead, period, if only by just a single moment, or even years ahead of nearly everyone else within the neurotypical common folk. I think he just called Jesus neuroatypical. Which is like, okay, go on. Within the past common, who were most difficult to find, spiritual enlightenment of deepest and highest elevations and ascensions, now becoming more and more evident in present days, in part with my own insight and guidance along the way, and along with the individual insights and guidance of the other deities, and other few really special and overpowerful individuals, and even the artists and chroniclers of this half of our universe here. I don't know what that means. And this includes every single artist and chronicler I have personally recognized and appreciated. With me, it continues to be a most humbling and major honor and privilege to help and do more of and beyond my best. I am also proud of everyone. I think he's saying it's really hard for people to be their best selves, and that the reason things were bad in the past is because people were dumb and took a long time to evolve, but they did so with the help of gods like him. I think that's what all these messages mean. It's really hard to tell. With that stated, the greater, deeper, and enlightened details I more than proudly present to every one of you all my own interpretation of The Last Supper, original painting by Leonardo da Vinci, and believe me, with that landscaping painting, it is possible to condense the width into an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, but it is not easy at all. Even a higher level than drawing an interpretation of Freebird by Leonard Skinner. I pray the individual who requested this heavy commission fully appreciates the time, work, effort, soul, and deep insight and enlightenment put into this one piece. And I thank you all for reading my 2 bolts and a heart about this massive experience. Thank you all. He signed it. Signed it up here. Right above Jesus boy. At Chris Chan, this might be an odd question, but I haven't heard anyone ask it. What are your favorite starter Pokemon? And Chris says, out of the starters in each generation, respectively. Charmander, correct. Pikachu, doesn't count. Totodile, wrong. Torchic, correct. Turtwig, that's the most wrong. Snivy, is fine. Fennekin, Poplio, also the most wrong. And Snobble. That's not his name. Sobble, yeah, that's not how you spell that. So this was commissioned by someone named Jacob McGowan. This belongs on the walls of the MoMA. So this guy's making a game called Quick Adult Chronicles. Bob has a schedule now where he'll venture outside to tend to his garden depending on the time of day. Chris can fight various wild animals that roam the property. Chris says, well, since you asked, it could stand to be more accurate in detail. Overall, it feels rather lacking. This literally has more detail than Earthbound, which is what it's obviously getting its inspiration from. My Little Pony, a new generation movie to get a theatrical release in Russia. MLP G5 is canceled. Please, stop talking about it. I don't like that. I like that. It is cool and cute, thank you. That is thankfully everything for Chris's Twitter. We have information from the Kiwi Farms that Barb owes, let's see. Barb owes $692.82 to LVNV funding. It's just part of the ongoing financial crisis. This is the end of the Chris Chan Weekly Update for this week, but there's a little more to talk about. Hopefully this Friday, instead of a reading of A Girl Who Brought Down the World, I'm going to be playing through a new video game made by Helena, or Pikachu, as you might know her by. And it's available for download. I'll have it in the description of that video, and it's actually really fun. There's only 1 chapter available right now, but it's, I liked it. I liked going through it. Now to figure out if my green screen worked. It's actually not a green screen. I moved into a new house, and the office, all the walls were just green screen colored. I'm wondering if the guy who lived here before me was a streamer or something, but very helpful. You can follow me on Twitter at GiBi_Devin. My Discord and Patreon should be linked in the description. And remember, lore cows, not lol cows.